Well, they probably would say, had your sister been armed, she might have survived.
Even if my sister was armed, I know her better than anyone. She would never have thought to grab a gun to protect her students. She would have done exactly what she did that day. She would have tried to hide as many of her kids as she could. She would have been going to that door to lock the door and keep her kids safe. A gun is a distraction. Having a gun on her while she would be teaching would be a distraction. I don't even think she would have taken a teaching job if it was a requirement to carry a gun, because it's a first grade classroom. There's no place in a first grade classroom, let alone any classroom, even in a college campus, a gun should be.
Hours from now, President Obama sits down with CNN's Anderson Cooper for a live town hall event on gun control. It's all part of the president's push to make gun safety a top priority during his final year in office. But as you know, not everyone is on board. The National Rifle Association, the NRA, the nation's largest gun rights organization, is snubbing the event, declining an invitation, calling it a public relations spectacle by the White House. With me now is Jillian Soto. She will be at tonight's town hall with the president. Her sister Vicki was a teacher at Sandy Hook Elementary the day a gunman entered the building. Her sister was killed trying to protect her students. 26 people, as you know, died that day, including 20 children. Welcome, Jillian, and thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. So, as I mentioned, CNN is hosting this town hall, not the White House. Still, the NRA declined the invitation to take part in this town hall. Why do you think it did?
I think that they're honestly scared that, the president has stepped up and is doing something, and I think they're finally realizing that, there's actions that are being taken that there are plenty of people who are willing to fight the NRA and go up against them and demand change, because nobody wants to join this group. Nobody wants to be a gun violence survivor, whether you lost somebody to gun violence or you are a survivor yourself. No one wants to join that group, so everyone wants to stand up, and the NRA is scared of that, I honestly think.
If the NRA had accepted the invitation and you're in the audience of that town hall, what would you want to ask the NRA?
Would they still be on the same side that they are? Would they still feel that nothing needs to be done if their loved one was in a classroom and brutally murdered in front of their students? Would they still feel the same way? Would they still feel that nothing needs to happen, that our nation is safe, and that we should just put more guns in people's hands and that's going to make it a better place to live?
Well, they probably would say, had your sister been armed, she might have survived.
Even if my sister was armed, I know her better than anyone. She would never have thought to grab a gun to protect her students. She would have done exactly what she did that day. She would have tried to hide as many of her kids as she could. She would have been going to that door to lock the door and keep her kids safe. A gun is a distraction. Having a gun on her while she would be teaching would be a distraction. I don't even think she would have taken a teaching job if it was a requirement to carry a gun, because it's a first grade classroom. There's no place in a first grade classroom, let alone any classroom, even in a college campus, a gun should be.
The issue over guns, it's become so partisan. Some might say hopelessly partisan. So I'll ask you a tough question in light of what happened to your sister. Why bother with this town hall?
To me, it's not hopeless. To me, I look at how much has changed in the past 3 years. We've come so far. We've had so many states pass such amazing gun laws, and we're still fighting. And thanks to the president for taking executive action and narrowing the loopholes that keep guns out of dangerous hands, we have some hope that we will get this fight done, and we are going to continue to fight. We're going to vote for Congress members that are going to help us make it a safer country, and the ones who aren't going to help us, we're not going to vote for them, and we're just going to continue to ask people to join us in this fight until we have a safer nation and we know our loved ones are safe, whether they're going to the mall, going to school, or they're just on the streets and hanging out with their friends. We're going to make this nation safer one way or another. So it's not a hopeless dream for me.
I'm glad you brought up that last part, because a lot of people say that the president's executive order would not have saved people who died as a result of a mass shooting. But we're talking about many other kinds of deaths caused by guns. 30,000 plus died in this country last year alone because of gun violence. You're talking about all kinds of gun violence, not just the kind of gun violence that happens in mass shootings.
Yeah, gun violence isn't just mass shootings. Gun violence is an everyday occurrence. 88 Americans are killed every single day to gun violence. And what the president did will narrow down that number. We hopefully will have less Americans killed every day to gun violence because of what the president did. Because with what he did, he's keeping guns out of dangerous hands. There will be background checks that will have to be done, and lives will be saved. It may not save everyone's life, but it will save some. And that's what matters, and we're going to continue to fight until we save everyone's life from guns.
Jillian Soto, thank you for being with me this morning.
Thank you.
I'm the leading state sponsor of terrorism.